I'm Bobby.
I'm Nathan.
And this
is going to be a podcast.
The show is called This Could Be a Podcast.
Oh, I forgot this guy. Like, I decided, by the way, if I was to ever run for office, I accept I'm a narcissist, would be a big part of my campaign.
Gotcha.
I'm Nathan Rebarger. I am a huge narcissist, and I understand that's a problem, but I'm still running for this position.
But I'm going to be honest about it, at least.
I'm
not going to lie to you like most politicians.
I know. It's absurd, the idea that I think I can make judgments for a large group of people. Mm-hmm. I understand that that's a bullshit concept, but somebody's got to do it, and I'm a narcissist, so I might as well be me.
Right. That's not a bad approach, honestly.
And I think that it just has enough self-deprecation and honesty to really relate to the folks.
Well, and it takes away all the punches that opponents could throw at you. He's a narcissist. Yeah, he's totally said that. We elected him because,
really? You want me? Somebody needs to make a decision, and it might as well be me? Really? Really? I'm also going to listen to the people. That's the other thing.
Until you get into the special room. Until you get into the inside club.
I don't know if...
Oh, it happens. Everyone does it. Every group, every
It's
individual.
Interesting.
Once you're inside the special room.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, no, you can't come in and you can't come in. But even though that's how you got elected or how you got into the room.
Right.
I'm the champion of the people. As soon as you're in the room, you're like, yeah, I don't want those people in here. No, what? You're right. This is much better.
Right. I don't,
A lot of people, if not 100% of people do that.
I don't understand how anybody wants to be a congressperson. I don't understand why anybody would be in the House of Representatives.
Tax-free money, that inside knowledge of the stock market.
How anybody can be in the House of Representatives is just beyond me. It's too much work. It's too much work to get reelected.
Is it?
You're just constantly begging for money. That's the thing. That's
right.
Really?
But that's the whole thing. It must not be that hard because so many people do it.
No, but you're just constantly shilling. And maybe that's just me and granted, I'm a narcissist, but I can't be just constantly asking people for money,
Well, it's ironic that you can't, you're a narcissist and your social media presence is zero.
It's pretty
close
low.
to zero.
It's pretty low. I was watching
which is what most people, which I always equate with social media, the people that are active on it. It's
right.
You are a complete narcissist to think that anyone gives a shit about what you're talking about on a day, multiple times during a day.
Multiple day on a more than once a day. Mm-hmm. Do I need to put something out there? I need to let people know my opinion on X, Y, or Z. Mm-hmm. Nope, not at all.
And you look at certain things like Instagram and Twitter, where they have followers and they really believe they're like, I have my followers. My followers care about what it says. No, most of your followers don't even remember they're following you. They scroll past and everything. But
I don't know.
There's a lot more narcissism in the world than I think anyone wants to talk about.
Sure. And thanks to my wife, she knows that I'm a narcissist.
You're well aware.
I'm well aware of my narcissism. And I did a little bit. Listen, I'm a very special person. I've got a multitude of talents, like I was saying before, about being able to be. That's the thing. Me too.
You're so humble about it too.
I like the idea that I can do creative, really interesting corporate video stuff, but also you throw me in a live stream situation, calling a live show, I can do that too. And those are two different beasts, and I enjoyed both of them. But I kind of wonder how many people do the same thing. I don't know.
As far as just video production?
Yeah,
stuff?
as far as video production.
There's a whole world of people that are entrenched in it. And then, I think the turnover of a video production, job opportunity, I think is very minimal because once you're in it, most people enjoy it. Most people or the money's good enough.
Right.
They don't ever leave. They die, and then that's how the job becomes available.
It is fun. I know.
I remember I was looking up because my wife asked me what does a cameraman for a baseball game make, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
I have no earthly idea actually, and it was close. It was $100,000 to just be a cameraman and watch baseball games, and I'm like, well, that I undershot it. I thought more like 60, 70 grand
right.
would be that. But football was somewhere around like 90,000, but that's a much shorter season. But those jobs don't come available because that's really good money.
Those guys are in there.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, Marcus, the guy we know, him talking about, he does stuff with the Big Ten Network, in Iowa City, and just like how difficult it is to make the leap from cable wrangler to grip to cameraman.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult.
Because all those jobs, I'm sure, have a stranglehold, and
those guys,
they're not leaving that job.
They're not leaving that job. There's a guy who will come and do games. He'll do games for Big Ten, and he's done stuff for Big Ten, but he didn't like it. He thought it was too high stress, and so he just does stuff for just Inside Hawk. Hawk Vision, and that guy is like the absolute best camera guy I've ever seen. It's just like, you are NFL Films quality camera guy. And
that's probably the other side of the coin too, is that the talent that you need to have that job. Yeah. Not everyone has the experience to get it. And then, once you're there,
right,
they don't want to hire somebody new. Because if you're working, that's the thing I noticed about when baseball started up again, because baseball was the first thing to start up after all this crap happened. But I wondered how many people opted out of the season. How many of those like professional camera guys opted out of the season, because there was a lot of just whip pans and like, extreme zooms. Yes. You're like, we're on camera one kind of things where you're like, whoa. And there was just a lot of it, like a lot of it going to an announcer before they're ready and everything like that. And I understand, like the first week of the season, you're like, okay, everyone hasn't been doing this, get the rust off. Yeah. And then, a month into the season, it's still happening. You're like, I wonder how many people opted out. I wonder how many of those guys.
I don't know. Or if it's just like, my crew is not going to be there. We are contracted to do, my company is contracted to do these games. We are not doing that. You're honoring my contract. You're going to pay me for my contract. This is part of the force majeure. I'm not doing it. So you guys go and pull whatever ragtag group you can.
I'm almost 100% convinced that's what happened, because it's even happened with the NFL too, where you see it much more than you've ever seen it before.
Yeah, and I'd always see like a one or two fuck up in a game. That's just
it's bound to happen.
Me and my eagle eye.
Very rarely you're going to pitch a perfect game, but well, especially in baseball. Football I get because there's so many cameras.
There's like 37.
I was going to say, how many cameras do you think there are?
Right. Like, including the pylon cam or not?
I would include it as a camera, but not an operated camera.
Yeah. But it's a lot of it.
But there has to be, I think there must be one camera person at every 10, 15 yard line.
Oh, I don't know about that.
If you watch a game,
if
you're watching a game, there's at least one person in the red zone on each side.
Yes.
To be able to get there. And they're hunkered down. So that's 4 total.
Right.
At least I would imagine, at least 4 more to add in between the 50-yard line and each respective red zone.
Yeah.
And then not to mention everything above the stadium.
Everything outside of, because there's the ground level, or just like, the cranes on the field level. And
I won't take those into like field level.
There's probably like 10 or 12. I'd say probably. There's probably
combining the crane and the.
Yeah, there's probably 1, 2 on each, so 2, 4 on each red zone, and then probably a crane. I want to say probably at the 20.
Yeah.
The half.
And
the 20. So that's.
And this depends on whether
that's 10.
Yeah, right.
That's 10.
And
those are all.
I think that's a simple broadcast. I think that's a simple, like the 12 o'clock game.
Yeah.
Not the Sunday night football, Monday night football game.
Right.
But yeah, because when you start to look for it, and especially with so little people on the sidelines and the stands and everything like that, it's very. Yeah. Baseball is the same way, and I think they added a lot of cameras in baseball. They which was fun. They did a lot of.
I wish they'd add more microphones. That's the thing.
That is the thing. I know we've talked about that, but that's the way to save baseball.
That's the way to save baseball.
Right
John Boy Media, friend of the show.
That
guy. When he gets a hot mic, he's in heaven.
Oh, it's great.
It's great. I mean, it is. It makes a difference. I want to be part of the game. I want to be in the game. I want to be a part of the drama that's on the field, as compared to as a viewer, the drama is like all superficial. I mean, it's all surface level. It's not like, it's the bottom of the ninth horseshit. Not
well. And baseball is one of those things that
inside baseball's a
quite literally, yeah. And that's why most people. Or why people don't like baseball is because they don't see the inside baseball stuff. So something as little as like the strike zone, but it's something as little as the strike zone, which can, over the course of a game, really build up tension. Yeah. Where you're like, this team's getting this call, and then the other team is not getting that same call. That will slowly build up, and most broadcasts don't draw attention to that. It depends, because different broadcasting crews for each team can be really good or really bad. Yeah. Some don't pay attention to the game at all. Some are like talking about this the entire game.
Yeah.
And so when it does boil up,
Brockheimer situation.
But when you're Brockmeyer. Yeah. But when you're when that builds up and you're like, okay, now the straw's broken the camel's back.
Yeah.
And I want to hear that argument.
The catcher's just sitting there. You're really fucking doing that? Really? That's it? Really? You want to call it that way? Get out of here.
And much like hockey has those enforcers that kind of police the violence in the game. Yeah. There's guys on the bench that their job that like they're not playing today. So if their job is to like bark at the ump and get the call and everything like that, or like at least let him know.
Yeah.
And if they get tossed out of the game, who cares? But that's their job, is to stay on the umpire.
Why isn't that a movie?
Probably could be, honestly.
Yeah.
Just that guy that's really good at yelling at an umpire.
Really good. You've been ejected 17 times this season.
And you've played 5.
McCory. It's not my fault they're always getting it wrong, coach.
No, the coach would be with you,
Yeah.
That's the thing that happened with, what rule change did they make?
Oh.
Challenging plays, instant replay was a huge thing that happened in baseball, because it really made the manager getting tossed out of a game like pointless. And so it still happens for sure. But the manager...
I'm not following you here.
So when instant replay didn't exist, and they just missed a call, right?
And the manager just goes up, you son of a bitch, I can't fucking believe it.
Right. And a lot of managers, some managers had, like, that was their trademark. I mean, Lou Piniella, longtime Major League manager, his calling card was getting thrown out of games and everything. And that was it. And he would blow up and, like, throw bases and everything like that and kick his hat all around. Act very childish, but hell if it's not entertaining.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
But when you have an instant replay and you come back and it's like, well, a third party's making this decision. This isn't on us. It really makes it hard for the manager to come out and be like, you motherfuckers, why the hell did you do this? Blah, 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 blah. And so it all of a sudden, all these managers weren't getting thrown out of games.
But how many times they get it wrong? That's the crazy thing.
Well, they still get it wrong, but it's not the umpires on the field getting it wrong. It's New York in a
except for when
office.
Except for if it gets overturned. I mean,
trust me, it's
Angel Hernandez. I mean,
that was before replay.
Yeah,
but
I mean, all of Angel Hernandez. I mean, still,
there's still managers that get kicked out. I mean, Aaron Boone of the Yankees gets kicked out of games at a pretty good clip.
He's a young guy, though, right? Is he a young guy?
Yeah,
he's a young guy.
But
me and baseball, we go way back.
Yeah, I know. But again, like there were far more managers getting thrown out of games or arguments with umpires before instant replay, and then it kind of got lost with the replay. It was sad.
I mean, I get it. I'm happy that there's replay. I'm happy that there's replay in NFL. Like that's the one thing. And also, I love. There's a certain gamesmanship about the whole red flag thing. I love, like, as a kid, I was like, oh yeah. I want to say that instant replay was about the same time as Who Wants to Be a Millionaire came out.
The first start,
it was about the same. It was about the same time.
3 to 5 year window. Yeah,
and it was just something about, it's like, oh man, that's your lifeline, and just kind of a an interesting gamesmanship of it. It's like, oh, are they going to use their lifeline on this one or not? Are they going to? And it's like, yeah, I'll throw my red flag and I'll do it in a weird way. Or like, do I just hand it to you? Is it like a chip I cash in or what? And
no one really launches it. Everyone just kind of throws it.
Just
I want to see a manager like just throw it like into the field of play.
I wanted to
chuck it,
beam a ref in the head.
That's what you do. Yeah, you throw it like I was just throwing it, and
it's like no, for it to count, it has to hit below the waist. It's a real dodgeball situation.
No, I don't think many refs have been hit with a challenge flag. Surprisingly.
You remember that? Who was that guy who like got up and assaulted a ref after he caught a flag in the face?
In football?
It was in football. He was
the
for
NFL.
He was for the Browns, and the guy he caught a flag in the face.
A player?
Yeah, a player.
Okay.
And I want to say he was a defensive lineman or something like that.
I'll look it up. Orlando Brown. Okay.
He lost an eye. He lost an eye from a ref throwing a flag. So he's like, motherfucker, I can't fucking believe it. You're gonna fucking ruin my dad. You fucking almost my dad lost his eye, and now I'm gonna.
So wait a second.
Yeah.
Brand. Okay. Waiting for his right eye to heal. Okay, hold on. This is a lot to absorb.
This guy's son assaulted a ref in an NFL game.
Okay, so his Orlando Brown's son.
Look at that, Orlando Brown Jr. I think.
Okay, hold on. Let's get to the bottom of this. Hold on. So it just says out of football injuries and lawsuits, but okay, Brown was accidentally hit in the right eye by a penalty flag weighted with a ball bearing thrown by referee Jeff Tripoli. Tripoli immediately apologized to Brown. Brown left the game temporarily, then returned to the field only to shove Tripoli. Knocking him on the ground. Brown was ejected from the game and had to be escorted off the field by his teammates. Brown was subsequently suspended by the NFL, but the suspension was lifted when the severity of his injury became apparent. That's a thing we'll come back to with the NFL and how shitty they are. Brown missed 3 seasons due to temporary blindness. Holy shit. Is there video of this?
I don't know. Take a look. I mean,
Brown was one of only 2 players to have played for the Cleveland Browns and the Browns. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, but I thought his dad.
So no. So I mean, this is Orlando Brown. Is this person?
Or maybe
then he has a son named Orlando Brown Jr.
I'm thinking of another guy. I mean, or maybe there was another guy. Yeah. Anyhow, he assaulted a ref, and everybody's like, "You can't do that." And he's like, "Dude, like."
It doesn't say anything.
Or maybe
here.
it was a teammate. I don't remember. Or maybe
it doesn't
that
say
was
anything
just like
here about Orlando Brown Jr.
No, it's not him. This is.
But in the same game, it's saying that Orlando Brown did shove Jeff Tripoli, who does look like he needs a good shove, honestly.
Yeah.
But how? Okay, we got to see how long this video is here. Hold on. Because we don't want to. Not going to watch it.
That's a 15-second ad. Oh, it's Joe Biden.
Yeah. Bo Biden. It's a 6-minute video. We can't do those here.
Yeah. Just get to the part where he gets clipped.
Wow. So again, because you can't see this video listening to a podcast. Yeah. So he's right tackle. Or right
tackle,
guard. Right
guard.
Yeah. Play was blown dead. He's getting backed up. And before the play even started, Jeff Tripoli threw the flag. And then
hit him right in the fucking face.
Obviously coincidental. Hit him right in the face, right in the eye. But how hard did he have to throw it? I mean, it must have been just a perfect thing.
And that's part of the question and part of the lawsuit was like, why'd you have to throw it so hard? I mean, it's a dead play. Why are you even throwing it at the line of scrimmage? Mm-hmm. It's, this is not a play that needs to get hit by a marker. And I remember there was like a lot of discussion afterwards about, why do we need to put ball bearings in there? How many?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure everything was changed afterwards.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
It was a weird thing. Yeah. I don't know.
Never knew that.
Yeah. So NFL players getting suspended. What was you had a thought process there?
Oh.
You want to you had a pin in that.
Well, yeah, that's classic NFL right there too. We're going to suspend you until new information surfaces. Not we find out new information, till it becomes known that you've been blind for the last 3 years, and then we'll lift it. It's very much like the Ray Rice situation. Ray Rice beats the shit out of his wife.
Pummeled.
Yeah,
pummeled her,
and It was a 4-game suspension initially. 4 games.
I don't know.
And then video surfaced because of TMZ and other outlets like that.
The internet.
And then, no.
Oh, no.
He's suspended indefinitely. And then it came out. Well, the NFL had the video before TMZ had it, and they saw it. It's classic NFL. Which is why when we go down to this whole COVID testing, all this crap for the NFL.
Yeah, you got a problem with that. And that's okay.
Well, no. I know that the NFL is
They're shady.
They're very shady.
They're shady.
Yeah.
So you just wish they were just more upfront about it?
No, I'm happy football's happening. I lie about it. I don't care. But
you're willing to accept the bliss of your ignorance.
When it comes to
football,
sure. But I don't like when the people assume that the NFL's just doing it right. Like that's not happening. The NFL's just lying to you. The NFL is there is no way. And they started doing it. I forget what game it was. But it was the Saints Packers game last night. They let 750 people, friends and family, friends and family into the game to quote unquote test the safety protocols of the stadium. It's like, what safety protocols are you testing? You look around and people aren't wearing masks. They're walking around. Sure. They're doing there's no safety protocols. You want to start making money. Like baseball could have been doing this from the get-go. I
feel Green Bay is a little bit different.
No, it was in New Orleans.
They're in New Orleans.
Yeah. But my point is this is all a slow trickle to get fans back in the stands and to do it without the backlash of people being like, oh yeah, they're just spreading everything. They're just doing all this stuff.
My question is, how much of their revenue, NFL, comes from in-game sales, in-game, all of the in-game stuff that is happening locally versus their television deals?
Well, the television deal is
I feel like it's got to be it's got to dwarf.
Pennies. No, it's not pennies.
It's not pennies. Well, but in the grand scheme, percentage-wise, ratio-wise, is it 15%? I feel like it's got to be 15%. Anything more than that, I'd be surprised. Just because it's just the television contracts are so ridiculous.
I understand what you're saying about the in relation to the TV deals.
Yeah.
But I still think it says right here, 38% of its total revenue.
No.
The sum of ticket sales, concession sponsors, parking, and team stores.
Okay.
Or 38% of team revenue. Or 30% of total revenue. Based on figures from 2018.
Do you think sponsors are going to be that different? Really? Hold on. I think you gotta break out sponsorships of...
How are you going to lump that in?
How are you going to lump in, hey, I've got a 10-year contract with Levi's for Levi's Stadium.
But if it's not to the total scope that the sponsor normally has. If they're not doing the in-game...
Do you think Levi's is going to try to claw back money?
Do you also think they're trying to do in-game videos and ads and promotions and shit like that? I don't think they're doing that.
Yeah, how much sales is there of that? 38%?
38% of it. That's right around where I was thinking. To be hindsight's 2020. But I totally agree. The television deal is where the bread and butter is made. All right.
Right.
But it's a huge hit, which is why when you're looking at playing the games versus not playing the games, they were always going to play the games. It's too much money to leave on the table to not play the game. And when you're looking at
that many people,
when you're looking at baseball was all based on the owners not wanting to prorate their salaries more than the 60-game season.
And and this is my opinion.
Go
ahead and finish, please.
But the NFL, they don't have guaranteed salaries in the NFL, so only a percentage of players actually have guaranteed money coming to them. Yeah. Of which I don't think there's any prorate. There's no need to prorate it right now because the season's happening as is. But everyone else is game to game, so the money that those players get paid is not nearly as much of a hit to an owner as it is in baseball.
Okay.
So your TV deal and then your attendance, because to go to a football game versus go to a baseball game, it's hundreds of dollars for one ticket.
It's different. Yeah.
Versus $30, to go to a baseball game.
So I'm going to push back a little bit on your
Of course you
COVID,
are.
on your COVID conspiracy.
Okay. Of course you are. Shocker.
Yeah. So when I think about our local sports situation with the number of teams and number of games that have been canceled because of COVID,
Mm-hmm.
one kid gets COVID, so they got to cancel the whole game for 2 weeks.
Yep.
They're children, and they don't
Mm-hmm.
give a fuck. They think they're invincible,
Mm-hmm.
as compared to an adult who has millions of dollars riding on this.
Because there's no way that these NFL players are just grown adults or grown children, right?
Don't get me wrong, some of them are. I think some of them are. And also, I want to get into whether or not young buck is a racist phrase. It's because I'm just like...
We'll get in. We'll pencil that down.
I
feel like it might be.
I feel like it might be because I'm like, oh, those young bucks going buck wild.
Mm-hmm.
All that. I'm like, oh, is that racist? Is that have racist connotations? Anyhow,
We can get into that. We'll come back.
but if I'm an adult and I recognize if I go out and I fuck around, even I can't really fuck around without everybody knowing about it because, the internet. Also, there's no clubs open for me to go to. So what's the point? Like, what am I going to do? I'm going to host a giant lavish party and go crazy and everybody's going to shit on me.
My point is that the NFL has been covering up HGH and steroid use and concussions for decades.
Yeah.
All right. They've been doing that for a long, long time. Because again, even remove it off the table.
Yes.
How many positive HGH tests were there?
You got me there.
How many were there?
There's zero.
Very few.
There's
For the
like
most violent game ever
Three.
played, right?
Yeah.
Some crazy, stupid number.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, really? No one's doing that. Again, we'll go back to, hold on, here's a good...
Young Bucks racist.
No.
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago now, the quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers was having a procedure performed on him 15 minutes before the game. And the team doctor punctured his lung.
I don't understand how this happens, by the way.
What procedure
is happening?
are you happening 15 minutes before the game, half hour before the game? Let's just see.
Where you puncture? I mean, do you think he's like getting a steroid shot in the back of his back or something?
Correct.
Is that it?
Correct. I think they're getting shots. I think it's just like the...
Yeah, I mean,
I think they get
cortisone shots and all that is pretty normal.
So that's on the table. So to get pumped up for the 2 or 3 hours the game takes, you don't think there's anything else going on in the meantime to like?
You think they're all just doing cocaine and?
I think you look at the drug.
Methamphetamines. You think they're doing uppers before the game?
I think the drug testing policy of the NFL is a farce. I think players do anything and everything.
Next time I see Roger Goodell, I'm gonna ask him.
We'll ask
I'm gonna look him right in the eye.
He's not on Cameo. He's not
on Cameo.
No, otherwise
Weird.
that would be the thing I'd ask him.
That's the if Roger Goodell, the commissioner for the NFL, was on Cameo, he just needs that $500.
It's $500.
He just,
the $50 million he makes a year isn't enough.
I think just on his weekends.
But no, I think you take the drug testing policy of the NFL in its history and its approach. It's always been shady as shit. It's always been, and people love football. They don't care. They don't want to know. They don't want to see the man behind the curtain.
They don't want to necessarily understand how the sausage is made.
Right. They like to see the action, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And so no one asks questions. No one cares. The same reason why when Ray Rice beat the shit out of his wife, no one cared until they saw the video. And that's when they saw the video, then there was enough public outcry that they said, oh, well, now we have to do something because the public's really, because it's right there of him just going Mike Tyson like all over his wife.
Full on closed fist on his wife. Jeez.
Right. And that's the video that you saw that made it, that made the public outcry to actually do something. No one cares if players are taking HGH or steroids to get out there. All they care about is if their team wins. And like, think about an offensive lineman. An offensive lineman goes through the most shit in, I would say, right?
They are the unsung heroes.
And they probably deal with the most pain.
I don't know about the most pain. I'm guessing like a linebacker. As far as like hard hitting, I mean, you're like a
I mean, I watch a lot of football.
Linemen, I mean, there's a lot of, that's more torque. That's not impact.
But the amount of football that I've watched, and the amount of times I've seen an offensive lineman basically get carried off the field, and then he's back in like the next series. It far outweighs any other like skill player or anything like that. When you see, because they rarely go down, but when they go down, it's like, okay, cut the commercial break, we'll come back, and he's like coming, he's walking off the field, and then more often than not, they're right back out in the next series or two after that.
I wonder what that's.
And that's part of the position.
What's the most like common injuries for an offensive lineman?
Well, that's why I think it's so varied, because they can get tripped up. I mean, a lot of leg, a lot of
knees, ankles.
Yeah. Shoulders, I would imagine.
I'd imagine so.
But they're the ones that they get wrapped up too. They get wrapped up if the pile starts falling on them and everything.
Right.
If a play blows up, there's just, it's, and no doubt most positions in football outside of your skill players are dealing with a
lot of knees.
And whenever you're in the trenches, that's where you're going to get a lot of those ailments that are just like, you're going to play through it, you're going to go through it. But those play through injuries are where I think HGH and cortisone shots and all these other things that you have to do to stay on the field, that's what people do, and that's what they have to do.
Yeah.
And then the NFL, there's not a huge surplus of players to choose from, honestly.
Well, good ones. They
don't, I mean, look at all the rules that they've made to protect a quarterback. I always found it fascinating that there's 15 kind of good quarterbacks in the world. Yeah. Like, there's 30 NFL teams, and maybe 6 of them have elite quarterbacks, and then another.
See, I wonder how many like 9 second string aren't good enough. I mean, are better than your starters, and maybe could be that elite level, but just don't get the shot. I mean, they just, we've got I think a lot of sunk cost fallacy going on as far as like, listen, we dropped how much money on Johnny Manziel,
But look at him. I mean, he didn't go to be a backup really anywhere.
No, he's just hawking Hulu Live.
No, you're thinking of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
He has not fizzled out yet.
Yeah, he hasn't. He's just playing for the Browns.
But that's what they have in common. But I think that you have only a finite amount of players that you can actually choose from that can operate at that level.
Yeah.
And they don't want players cycling through quicker than they already do. I think the average NFL career is 2.5 years.
I mean, all players.
All players combined. Yep.
Right.
The average, I'm pretty sure on that. But
yeah.
So you don't want to cycle through, especially like, I'll just lay out a scenario here.
I'm listening.
You have a star quarterback that you want to protect. How do you protect that star quarterback?
Power Christ for starters.
Power Christ.
Excellent.
Military. Yeah, O-line. That's right. So you're going through, you want to shore up the O-line, right? That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And then you want to give them weapons, but that's outside of there. But you want to shore up the O-line. If I have a really solid offensive line and they just get decimated with injuries, how do I protect, if I'm the NFL, how do I protect that star quarterback?
Well, then
I look the other way when, Ryan Balaga of the fucking Green Bay Packers.
Oh, remember Ryan Balaga?
And I'm not accusing him of anything, but.
Friend of the show.
No Packers a friend of the show. But anyway.
Oh.
No.
Oh, yeah, the NFC North guy over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me started on the Chicago Bears, right? And their road to, excellence.
You mean the greatest team ever?
Yeah.
No. I'm a Vikings fan. We don't have that. 1998 was great for us.
Remember 1998?
I do. It was really fun.
It was a really good year.
Until that one game where Gary Anderson missed a field goal.
Just blew up.
Yeah. It's the first miss of the year. That damn game.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that to protect the stars, which are the quarterbacks, you have to protect the offensive line. Yes. And then you look the other way when Ryan Balaga or anybody else of the offensive line.
Did he play for Iowa?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's why I know the name.
Yeah.
Like, otherwise I would not know.
Otherwise, how the fuck would you know his offensive lineman's
Orlando Pace?
Yep. Or care that they take, whatever the fuck they need to take to get back out on the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those are the things. So apply that same methodology to the COVID testing It was like 6,800 tests they did, and there was 5 positive tests. Shocker. That's amazing.
What do you think the movie The Program would do with COVID-19? Can I make a movie?
There's plenty of pop culture references that you get. Remember Varsity Blues? I don't care how many concussions you had there. What was his name?
I don't know if I can know.
The big center dude?
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't Billy Bob, was it?
I think it was Billy Bob.
Was it Billy Bob?
Yeah.
But and that's the other thing you got to take into account, especially on the high school level too.
You're to laugh.
On the high school level too, of the amount of closed door, no one say shit.
Right.
I mean, I was talking with one of our crew guys before one of the high school games that we covered.
Yeah.
And he was thinking the same thing. It's like, how many coaches are like, we have a chance to win this year? No one say fucking shit. Like,
yeah. You're talking about COVID or?
Yeah,
or
COVID. Yeah, COVID. Yeah. I don't care if you have a cough or if you have any of that shit, you don't say it to me.
Figure it out.
Or if it's implied, figure it out. Like, don't ruin the team.
Yeah.
I think those conversations definitely have happened throughout the country.
Oh, sure.
Whether it's a majority or not, that for sure that conversation has happened in a football locker room of saying, this is not happening to us.
What was the crazy thing about senior baseball? Like senior baseball,
local high school.
They called off they missed the playoffs because of COVID. And it was a kid that didn't play.
Right.
And it was like, well, that sucks. You know, because they had like a legitimate, especially with the weird shortened season and everything, like they had an actual chance of going deep into state playoffs. And
now add the intensity of football, even on a high school level, because that's very intense for some fucking reason. But there are definitely people at that level saying, don't talk about it. You don't think that there's people on the professional level saying, shut the fuck up and don't talk about it? Right.
Well, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Thank you. That's a far cry from you saying I'm going to push back on.
I don't think it's as gross negligence as.
It's not gross negligence.
Well, I mean, a grand cabal conspiracy to.
It's not even that.
It's
a well-oiled machine
to negate positive COVID tests.
No, it's a well-oiled machine of disinformation. That's what the NFL is. Then they are known for that throughout. It is a well-oiled disinformation machine.
Half of the NFL players have COVID, according to Bobby, and the NFL is just covering it up.
Nope. The NFL is telling you what the NFL wants to tell you. And the beauty of the NFL is that people just believe whatever the NFL says.
Well, what else you got to go on? It's
so closed off. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
That's my NFL spiel.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. By the way, we'll get back to these young buck races. Hold on.
I don't know.
Well, here, let me tie it in. I'll make a nice segue here. Ready? Because I was listening to a fantasy football podcast, and then just this hypersensitive world that we live in.
Yeah.
There are these things that used to be said that are said now, and you're like, I wonder if anyone's going to pick up on that.
Sure.
Basically, they were talking about a player, a quarterback, and if he had the horses to make, to be a viable fantasy starter, like a viable
Does he have
player.
The horses?
Does he have the horses to make work? Implying that the players on the field were horses. So I was just wondering, I was like, and then they reiterated it too, because the one guy said, I was like, I wonder if they're just going to let that go. And he's like, yeah, I don't know if he has the horses to make it work, you know? And it's like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. I wonder if anyone would be offended by that. I mean, I'm personally not. I get what they're saying. I know what they're talking about, but
I don't.
Another thing that they did, just in the PC world of one of the fantasy formats for baseball and for a lesser extent football is called an auction draft. All right.
Okay.
Where you're buying players.
Yeah, they're being sold at auction.
Right. So that's now
going
called
to the highest bidder.
That's now called a salary cap draft because of the implied buying of a human being at an auction.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're gonna find out if Young Buck is
Young
racist.
Buck racist. And like I say that because it's a phrase I used recently.
And you just want to know.
And it's like, oh, Young Buck, come on now.
I'm going to go the term Young Buck because I'm pretty sure, is there a rapper named Young Buck?
Oh, I don't know, but there probably should be. I mean, if there's not, there should be, especially like in Milwaukee.
Right? Hold on. Well, let's just find out if Young Buck is a rapper real quick.
Young Buck racist?
I said, is the term Young Buck racist? Young Buck is absolutely a rapper.
Young Buck is a rapper.
David Darnell Brown.
Oh, David Darnell Brown? I don't know him.
Also known as Buck Marley and Bonafide Hustler.
Bonafide Hustler is a little bit too much for a name. I don't think that's like a description.
Is he part of G Unit?
Oh, is he part of the G Unit?
Okay.
That's how you pronounce it, by the way.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's part
he's
of
Cash Money. Oh, he's Cash Money.
He's part of the G Unit. But is the term Young Buck racist?
Yeah.
I don't trust Snopes at all.
You don't trust Snopes?
No. I mean, it's about as much as I trust Urban Dictionary. I think I trust Urban Dictionary more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think?
I think that Snopes has done a weird turn lately. I think fact-checking's done a weird turn lately, quite frankly. But that's just me. Buck Naked of racist origins? That's okay. That's coming from UK.
Hold on.
List of ethnic slurs. Oh, jeez, this is. Warren C's. Is cheesehead a racist slur? Hold on. Cheesehead.
A Dutch or Wisconsinite. So this is list of ethnic slurs.
God.
Are all ethnic slurs offensive?
That's a good. I mean, would you say yank is being called a Yankee is offensive?
Such as grink and yank, etc. are
Gringo,
used by many people all over the world as part of
slur has a very negative connotation. So, other common insulting modifiers include dog, filthy, etc.
Well, it says right here the connotation of a term and prevalence of its use as pejorative or neutral descriptor varies over time and by geography. So by that, I would say that not everything in its time is offensive.
Yes.
Right? Like, can we gather that from that sentence?
Time and place.
Everything's a time and place. So,
Cheesehead.
Cheesehead, maybe
I guess
at a different time and place. I consider it, I use it derogatorily.
If you're from Denmark.
Right.
I mean, or talking about somebody from Denmark, that cheesehead motherfucker over there. So buckaroo, buckra. Buckra.
Okay.
Buckra.
All right. So we're not doing that.
I learned where the phrase buckaroo came from, and now I can't remember.
It's not on this list here.
No, I learned that at the National Cowboy Museum in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Just FYI. Which was nice.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. Young Buck is not on the official, so I'm going to go ahead and just use it. If it's not on Wikipedia's list, then I'm just going to go to town.
There's a racial slur database. Hold on.
God, that was my favorite album by the Smashing Pumpkins.
They just put that out.
Racial slur database. Oh my God. Brillo pad, hair reminiscent of Brillo pad, and it's under the category of blacks.
Mm-hmm.
People would say that I had Brillo pad hair.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, when it's short, it's very coarse. That was part of my defense mechanism.
All right, so we're going to have to go to
Urban Dictionary.
We're going to have to go to Urban Dictionary.
Strapping young buck.
From 1976 speech by Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
I find it really hard to believe that Ronald Reagan was the first person to say strapping young buck. Using political assistance to buy T-bone steaks, the phrase is shorthand for undeserving and lazy black people living off hardworking white taxpayers instead of getting a job. This is their words, not mine.
That's not it. I mean, no.
Whereas this is a quote here. A quote from who, though? Is this still?
I think it's Ronald Reagan.
Whereas once the problem was just welfare queens and strapping young bucks, now the entire middle and lower classes, the lazy union members, the credit card deadbeats, the unemployed so content with their benefits that they don't look for work.
That's right now. That's what's going on right now. To be a young buck, a young...
Well, it says strapping young. Here's a young, good-looking, and rather hot example of the male species who appears before the eyes of a lustful older woman.
Yeah.
Here, we'll read the dialogue here.
Okay.
I'll be the boss.
Sure.
All right.
You're the boss.
But why are you late?
I got derailed by a strapping young buck.
With antlers and everything? And
this is from Madam XXX on March 10th. Where were you on March 10th, 2009?
2009? It's probably...
March 10th.
It's probably in Des Moines at that point. I don't remember, though.
Yeah.
Probably watching The Office.
Oh, well, probably. Was that a Thursday?
Probably. So we're getting conflicting reports here. There seems to be this one entry here from Saxifrage 2300.
I mean, I get it. I don't know if I'd say strapping. Yeah, for me, I don't know. I think it was after I recently watched the movie Glory, starring, Carrie Ells and Matthew Broderick.
Okay.
And Denzel.
Hey, we got a Yahoo Answers here, by the way. Just if you really want a trusted source.
Yeah.
But go on with your thought.
And Denzel referred to, come on, young buck, come on. Or maybe it was Morgan Freeman referred to Denzel as young buck.
As a young buck?
And it was like, oh. Yeah. And the thing is, so the other day when we were loading up the generator, I'm like, hey, let these young bucks do it.
And then you thought to yourself?
And it was like, well, one of those two college kids who are working on the crew is a person of color. Now, was that racist? Was that a racist phrase? And then I used it again. A teenager or a young adult male.
This is audioenglish.com. Definition, young buck.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So in that context, you were absolutely correct.
But then I think about the term like buck wild, which is...
It's another entry. This is just for young buck on Urban Dictionary. This is part of the younger crowd or just younger, also known as youngin.
Youngin.
Get out here, young buck. You is too young to come with us.
Get out here, young buck. You is too young to come with us.
Yeah, that's not us putting on an accent or anything. That's how it's spelled out.
That was put in by Duh on August 21st, 2003. Now, where was I at that point in my life?
It's a different time. It's August 21st, 2003 is a different time.
You were were you in orientation for going to college at that point? Yeah, that was your.
I was just preparing for the second anniversary of 9/11 there. About a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks, and then
I got a couple of weeks to go before 9/11.
So, if we're deducing from Urban Dictionary correctly, saying young buck is just associated with the younger crowd.
Yeah.
For some reason, if I put strapping in front of that, it means I welch off of the taxpayers of America.
I think that's Ronald Reagan misspeaking, quite frankly. I think, or maybe just Ronald Reagan just misspeaking. As far as using welfare queen and strapping young buck, I don't think those are.
Now, welfare queen, that's a thing.
That
has a definite
I watched Glow.
They play on it.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. But
young buck. Yeah, Denzel.
So I don't think you're wrong, or I don't think it's racist.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go if we're gonna do the is it racist to steal that bit from.
Yeah, just tweet at me. Hey, no, you're racist, but not because of this, because of X, Y, and Z.
Because of the things we just read on Urban Dictionary. Speaking of, let's go back to ethnic slurs. Hold on. There's some fun ethnic slurs.
It's white. Here. Yeah, white trash, I guess, is technically a.
That's what. Yeah.
Whitey.
Poor white people. Common usage from the 1830s as a pejorative used by black house slaves against white servants. Oh, okay. I get you. That's where it came from?
Sure.
That's interesting, though. That they're.
That's weird.
That's weird, right?
I think that can't be right. As compared to wigger that comes from a 19th century United States to refer to the Irish, I feel like if I question that.
Sometimes used today again, to go back to that sentence it said, it's basically time and place. So it could mean something.
Yeah.
Much like the F word that that has meant a number of different things, not fuck. but the other F word has meant a lot of different things.
Also used the radical kibiwesis in a self-reference as the seminal 1968 book, White N-Words of America.
Mm-hmm. Hard R.
That's a hard R there.
Mm-hmm. We're going to look this up.
Yeah, can you find me more about this book that came out in 1968?
We're on a path here. 1 second. Let's follow.
White trash.
Gonna figure out white trash.
Appalachia, is that in here?
I would imagine so.
Used to be the way to separate the good poor, or the noble and hardworking, from the lazy, undisciplined, ungrateful, and disgusting bad poor. Mm-hmm. Now, which one were you, Bobby?
I don't know. But I do think that this is an interesting look at, and Appalachia's right there, by the way.
Yes.
Regarding poor people from Appalachia. Okie. It goes back down to racism is totally a thing in America, but a lot of our social issues in America come down to socioeconomic situations where this is an interesting look at it. White trash is a derogatory term for a class of white people in America based on characteristics that people have determined that they have, basically. You know what I'm saying? But it's based on poverty. It's based on, the lack of having. And there's reasons for lack of having.
There was a really interesting study that just came out. I wish I could remember half of it so I could even Google it. But talking about how the members of the Latino community do not want to be perceived as a person of color. And, I don't remember if it was a majority or 40%. 40% of Latinos in America do not identify as a person of color or something like that.
Interesting.
And it was really interesting hearing some people discuss it and talking about how it's, almost like the Irish and the Italians, how they want to just be seen as American. They don't want to be seen as a different race. They want to be seen as as an American, which I think is, I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
It is. I mean, and the rationale behind it, or whatever the reasons are, I'm sure are vast. But
yeah,
it has happened in multiple different groups of people over time. Not especially groups of people coming over, like the Irish coming over, the Italians coming over. I mean,
not so much
Chinese,
the German. I mean, which I find to be interesting.
I do find that to be interesting.
I was just thinking about, it's like, well, okay, I can think about how Dr. Emmett Brown, his parents, his lineage, they changed their names from the Von Browns to the Browns during social unrest and racism from World War I. Yeah. Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. But yeah, when did they stop? I don't hear nearly as much. I mean, being compared, I saw on the list before, the list of ethnic slurs, WAP, which was referring to Italians, meaning without papers.
Right.
Why am I not hearing that about Germans? That's interesting. As compared to Irish need not apply, that kind of thing.
Which absolutely happened. It says here it's a picture of a poor white family from Alabama. Their words, not mine. Was presented in 1913 as celebrities because they had escaped the debilitating effects of hookworm disease.
Ugh. That's a problem.
And among so white due to poor sanitation, the phenomenon of clay eating. There are a lot of poor people in America, and there have been for a long time.
I think hookworms comes from walking around barefoot. I think. And maybe clay eating just means you ingest a lot more dirt and bacteria just because you're around dirt and bacteria a lot more. I don't know.
It's a fascinating thing, especially in this day and age, when you want to have a real conversation about racial equality and what that actually means in America. Because most countries are not melting pots of just a bunch of different people coming together.
Yeah.
Living together, not even coming together, just living together, basically. Because we're not even going to go that far that we're coming together.
Yeah.
We're living in proximity to other people. And mostly people that we haven't lived next to for centuries and centuries and centuries. If you're in another country like Italy or Spain or, Germany or anything like that, most people have been there their entire time.
Yes.
Versus America is very broad.
We're a melting pot.
It's a really nice way of putting it. Yes. But that means that every culture that has come here, however they've come here, has experienced some kind of like growing pains.
Every single one of them.
Yeah. To get to wherever they're at, good or bad. Right?
Yeah. No, I think it's very interesting. And it's just, literally everybody shit on the Irish. Everybody shit on the Italians. I'm guessing there's a lot of anti-German rhetoric during the World Wars.
Right.
Where,
probably the rationale for the name change.
Kraut is, I'm sure, under K is Kraut.
Yep.
Right? Eventually.
Not Krautrock.
I just saw the hard R in there. K-R, there it is. Right there. K-R-A-U.
Yep.
Short for sauerkraut.
Yep. Well, like limey.
Limey.
Lime is limey. Yep, limey's right.
Yeah,
there.
we talked about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But again, time and a place. Like you can say limey, and we're not going to get canceled.
Right. It's just it's
I did not know kebab for a Muslim, usually of Arab or Turk descent. I did not know that.
Yeah, well, that's not something that I'm going to use.
But I'm
not putting that in my repertoire.
I'm not. Well, because I make kebabs all the time. When you guys come over, I grill kebabs.
Yeah.
So talk about, again, time and place, right?
Time and a place, eating kebabs.
Yeah. I do not associate it with a person that identifies as Muslim.
No, that's interesting. This is a very interesting list. Also, I think could be a little bit. I mean, this is probably the case for all of Wikipedia, not so American centric, but that's okay.
But again, going back to my point though, of America being a melting pot, like how many of these are specifically related to cultures coming over and them being developed in America? I mean, how they might be so American centric because America has dealt with this more so than any other country. Not to say that these haven't been originated in other places or used in other places, but where was most of Europe using kraut, during World War I or World War I and II,
I mean, from the movies I've seen, yes.
Probably. But
same thing with Jap. I mean, I was just telling that story about how my uncle used to frighten my dad by an airplane flying overhead, and he'd be like, "Oh, Dad, it's the Japs. Japs are coming," and my dad would freak out and start freaking out because.
Well, that's not nice.
No, it's not nice.
What war was he in? Was he in Korea?
My dad, he served during Vietnam. No. But it would have been within 10 years. Probably more like 15 years of World War II. So 5 years of World War II ending. But,
wait, what?
Yeah, no, I take that back. 10 years. Yeah, because my dad, he was born in 49. So, we're talking about when he was 5.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So when he was 5 years old, his brother would scare. Okay,
yeah,
because those children were terrified.
Yes, yeah,
that's sad. That's really sad.
Yeah, not so much.
It'd be really sad too if he did it after he got back from war.
No,
just to terrify him.
No. My dad served. My dad served on a aircraft carrier, so he didn't really. Dad didn't see much action, and that's good.
That's good. That's what I hope for the most of those red-blooded American military, any military actually out there. I don't want you to see any action at all. Yeah,
except for he picked up the Apollo 11 crew. His boat did.
That's cool.
Right?
What fun stories did they have?
None. He just had a nice book. He had a book, a commemorative book of it.
Wow, 8-ball. Ooh, that's a rough one.
Oh, really? Hold on. Is Pip on here? PIP? Like Gladys Knight and the Pips?
Oh, yeah. We kind of talked about this a little bit. No.
Pikey. Plastic Patty. Ugh.
What's Plastic Patty? Someone who knows little of Irish culture, but asserts their Irish identity. Oh, some Midwestern America.
So, Dubuque.
Yeah.
It's weird. I've never understood that.
Me neither. I know this is very this I think it can be laid out across most of the Midwest. I don't
Yeah.
want to say specific to the place.
I'm
It happens here.
Irish.
But the amount of Irish flags that wave for no good reason.
And don't
Most
get me wrong,
people are
everybody
Irish.
should have a good excuse to get drunk, but it shouldn't just be solely dependent on St. Patrick's Day. And me as a redhead, like, I kind of hate it. Like, well,
here's another
you should
one.
are you having fun today? Are you going out? Are you doing stuff? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just because I'm Irish.
It's like, no. Well, I am I'm equal amounts German and Irish and Welsh. It's the idea of that I'm going to be celebrating more.
Here's this is Pollentown, an inhabitant of northern Italy, referring to them as a polenta eater. Now, I had some wonderful polenta this weekend. That's not an insult to me. You can call me a polenta eater all you want.
I'm going to call you a polenta eater.
Fucking delicious.
I bet Trump uses that. You eat too much polenta.
Yeah, polenta eater. It just doesn't even. It's such an odd food though too, because it's not like kraut. I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, you could
sure.
derive sauerkraut, mainly German.
Isn't polenta also like pretty popular in like Spain as well?
Yeah, I think it's not associated. Like I don't associate it with northern Italy.
No, you don't?
No.
Have you ever been to Italy?
Now if you put pasta eater there, maybe that's a little more.
I don't. Yeah.
That's just a weird one. You can call me. You feel free to call me
I'll call you polenta
eater. That's fine.
You eat too much polenta.
It's good. It's really good.
We were just talking about going to Italy. I can go to Italy.
Really cheap right now? Don't go to the old folks' homes.
Is that it? Is that the rule?
Apparently to the mainstream media.
Hold on, Jesus.
There's some on here.
A mayonnaise monkey? Hold on. Oh my God. It's MAY.
No, that's not even clever.
Where are you at?
The
one
there
you
it is. Just looked at. I don't even get what the fuck that means.
A person with mayonnaise complexion. A white person. I don't. Okay. Like, these are just. This is interesting.
So, wait, is the parentheses the group that uses it?
I don't.
Because it says U.S. black, a person with mayonnaise complexion.
I'm going to have to go to find. Yeah. So if Limey is US / and I don't know what NL stands for. What's NL stand for?
North London?
Maybe.
Those damn Southerners. Shit rolls downhill.
Don't get me started on Southern
London.
Yeah.
So that's weird that it also groups down, like, in parentheses. This is the group that only uses this word, by the way.
People from Bangladesh refer to Hindus as a Maloon. Okay.
I apologize to all Hindus
all
out there
Hindus who are familiar with Bangladesh.
By saying this word that he doesn't know what it is.
It's interesting. There's
but,
so much.
But here's one. Here's one that India uses for someone from southern India.
A Madrasi?
Madrasi?
That sounds like a word that I've heard before.
Mm-hmm. But how much is that? How much is that different than a person in a northern state? I mean,
I mean,
Yankee, obviously.
Redneck.
Southern, redneck, yeah.
Personal name Hyman.
Well, redneck. So, redneck is interesting because I was listening to a podcast where a guy was talking about the redneck was actually like a term of pride
Oh, yeah?
It had something to do with a union battle in the mining states of like West Virginia.
It sounds dumb.
It's not. It's a very interesting story. It's like the battle of Blair Mountain or something like that.
Oh, I mean,
where basically they would wear red handkerchiefs on their neck, and that was the opposing side.
Hillbilly cracker.
Yeah, but the origins of where it came from were not what it is today. Again, much like that first sentence that we read. It's all a time and a place. Everyone's got to remember that. It's a time and a place
as far as racial inequity.
Right. For what words mean.
I'm not saying anything.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be on the Wikipedia here. I might have to look up.
Battle of Blair Mountain. Yeah, that was a real unionized coal town thing, right?
Mm-hmm. I believe the only time the American Air Force was used on people
on
citizens
on U.S. soil. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds. And it's like nobody knows how to make it into a movie. It's weird.
Yeah, because it's should be. It's fascinating. There's like a PBS thing on it, like one of their.
Is it as good as the Olympics of 1908 in St. Louis, or
That's more lighthearted. This is more a little heavy-handed.
a little
probably.
heavy-handed?
Yeah, but again, this.
Oh, there you go. Stereotypes of white Americans. That's a whole Wikipedia disambiguation.
Just stereotypes of white Americans. We'll get to that. Don't worry. But no, I always thought that the Battle of Blair Mountain was interesting because it was racial equality amongst subjugation, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just poor people. That's why when I say it's socioeconomic, it's class struggle.
Yeah.
You're going to the company store using company script.
That's a problem.
Yeah, and you don't have anything, and it didn't matter your skin color. It mattered that was the only work you could get, and
right.
that's what you had to do, and
yeah,
to take advantage of that, meaning kind of tangentially going back to the NFL for a little bit, or just sports in general.
I'm listening.
People talking about equality and everything like that.
Yeah.
If you don't think for a fucking second that the NFL would sign, like, the NFL's a bad example, actually. If you don't think a Major League Baseball team would sign anybody that could throw 95 miles an hour.
Anybody.
Race, creed, gender, doesn't
You're
matter.
You're a turtle person.
Yeah. Can you throw 95 in strikes? We're going to sign you to a minor league deal. Absolutely.
I'm a one-eyed turtle person.
Yep.
But I can throw a 90-mile-an-hour strike consistently.
Yep. You're going to get a contract.
You got a contract.
A guy last year at a Colorado Rockies game threw in the concession area speed pitch.
Yeah.
Like the radar gun thing at the little amusement park.
Yeah.
He threw 93. The fucking Rockies signed him to a minor league deal based on a video that they sent. If you don't think they're gonna take any chance they could get, so like all this stuff about like, oh, no one's out there throwing 93, 95 that they're not signing.
Yeah.
That's just it doesn't exist. If it did exist, they would totally sign him and they'd make a big deal that they signed him. That's why the NFL's a really bad example, because Colin Kaepernick can totally play football and they're definitely blackballing him.
Yeah, they are.
But which is the whole point of like there's actually some smoke to that fire, and we've already talked about it before. Maybe it's a little more nuanced.
He's not great.
No, but deserving. Like again, there's 15 good good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
There's 6 great ones. There's another 9 good ones, but that can't lead consistent. Like Matt Ryan this year of the Atlanta Falcons is a great quarterback. They're 0-3. They've lost 2 double-digit leads in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In the second half, like
he's not Mahomes.
No, but they also I forget who said
it's not Baker Mayfield either. Someone
said if you can paying Mahomes anything less than $1 billion is an incredible deal.
Who was it? That was I think that was a Freakonomics podcast I listened to.
It was the defensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens said that actually.
It was a Freakonomics podcast that talking about LeBron, and is like, actually, get this, LeBron is underpaid. Mm-hmm. Like, I know it sounds crazy. He's making $500 million a year or whatever it is. I don't know what his contract is.
No, I don't think he makes it. I'll look it up. I'll look it up. But go on.
But anyways, it's just like for what he does and how he does it, mm-hmm. he is. And if you like put like the player to win ratio and put it all into this calculation, this guy's getting underpaid like a lot. Like,
well,
a lot.
And that's what they go back. That's what I go back to with. There are only so many people in the world that can do this job. And if you don't think like all these organizations have scoured the globe to find somebody that is just as talented but is unknown that can be
I watched The Air Up There.
Exactly. And they were doing that back in 94,
Is that your favorite Kevin Bacon movie?
No. I'm a Flatlanders guy or nothing.
Oh, Flatlanders? Oh.
37 million this year.
37. Yeah, it was like, yeah, no, he's worth
30. He's making 39 this year, 41 next year. But again, there's one of 5 people in the world that can do what LeBron does?
He's not a common. He's not a every under rock, kind of guy.
Yeah.
You gotta.
Which again goes back to if they could do it, if anyone could do it, doesn't matter. I love how racist the South is perceived, and it totally has a racist history, and there's absolutely racism for sure. Just misguided thought process. But damn if they don't get behind their football teams and give everyone a chance. There's just there's racism goes out the window when it comes to football. It's fucking crazy, and it's oddly kind of maybe beautiful. I don't know. It's probably wrong, really in all aspects, but they truly get behind it. They truly get behind their football teams.
True or false? Mm-hmm. Alabama's the worst.
State?
Or just college team?
Oh, I hate college football. I don't follow it at all. I mean, I know Alabama's good, but I don't have feelings for any college football team.
I'm so annoyed.
I'll tell you about how much I hate the Packers or how much I, hate the Philadelphia Phillies. But
what's wrong with the Phillies?
Oh, they suck. Philly sucks.
I mean, they're not good.
Philly sucks. I'll say it.
Philly as a town sucks?
Yeah.
If I paid for you to go take a trip to Philadelphia with me, would you do it?
Just what are we going to do?
I don't know.
See the Rocky statue?
Just go to the museums and shit.
No, that's a hard pass.
Have you hung out in Philadelphia?
I've driven through Philadelphia.
But have you hung out in Philadelphia?
No desire to hang out.
Let me tell you this.
Just fucking with Philadelphia.
I just want to I've never been to Philadelphia. I would go to any single city ever and just go hang out and go look at their bullshit museums.
I would go around Philadelphia and look at the B-roll shots they got for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's what I would do. I would just go see where did they get B-roll? That's what
I love going to little town. I love going to towns and exploring. I mean, that's just me.
Well, and I like doing that too. Yeah, I mean,
but not in Philadelphia.
Probably
Philadelphia
not.
Can
it's mainly it's mainly the sports teams and the sports fans of Philadelphia. They're notoriously horrible. I mean, and
Eagles fans.
Yeah, they throw batteries at people.
Eagles fans.
Did you ever see the videos of the Vikings fans walking into Philadelphia?
Oh, is that what it is? It
was long before that.
It's a Vikings thing.
No, it was long before.
It's a Vikings thing.
It's not a Vikings thing. It was
sounds
long
like
before
a Vikings thing.
No, because the Phillies were long before that too, of just being garbage.
I mean, is it because of the Philadelphia Fanatic?
No.
Is that part of the problem?
No. Have you seen that video though of just Vikings fans walking into the stadium, not saying
getting
shit?
Pelted with batteries?
They were throwing garbage at him that time, but
they had it coming. I mean, listen, what are you doing in Philadelphia, Viking fan?
Watching the Vikings play in the NFC Championship game.
No. Is that it?
Yeah, walking into the stadium.
What about Pittsburgh? You got a problem with Pittsburgh?
I don't have a problem with the Steel City.
Steel Town?
No.
Yeah. Would you go fuck around in
I would.
Pittsburgh?
That PNC Park area looks really beautiful.
It does look
nice warehouse districts and everything.
It's interesting. Literally, I would go to any place and just go hang out. I'm that guy. A couple years ago, I was in Mobile, Alabama. Loved the shit out of it. Just loved just wandering.
But you just
streets.
said they're the worst.
No. No. Mobile, Alabama. Where's Alabama?
Tuscaloosa?
Tuscaloosa didn't hang out there.
You hang on. No, you just said the state though.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, I was talking about the football team.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're the fucking worst.
Gotcha.
Why everybody gives a shit about them is
no one does. Again, it's the media that gives a shit about them.
Yeah.
That's the perception versus reality.
Yeah.
Which is what's happening. Again, when you think I'm getting into the conspiracy,
do people care about the Hawkeyes that much?
In Iowa, they do.
Yeah.
No one else. If you, we should poll our listeners. That don't live in Dubuque, Iowa. What state do the Hawkeyes play for? And I don't think many of them could.
Do you know what the etymology of Hawkeyes come from? You know where that comes from? Hawkeye?
No, go for it.
It comes from the fucking book Last of the Mohicans, which is, about a fictional fucking Native American tribe.
Uh-huh. So, the Hawkeyes or
the lead character in the book Last Mohican, his name's Hawkeye.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's where the
fucking name comes from.
The Iowa Hawkeyes came from?
As far being the Hawkeye state, yeah.
Being the Hawkeye state, so why were the
Yeah.
Interesting.
So fucking dumb.
Is Last of the Mohicans set in Iowa?
No, it's set in fucking New England. It's
crazy.
During the French Indian War. It's fucking stupid.
Here's a thing. here's a conversation. This is kind of a weird. I mean, it's not weird.
Last Mohican's a great movie. Yeah.
I was talking with my wife over the weekend. She was brought up, and again, I apologize to my wife if I misrepresent her, but she was talking about a book club that she's in.
Were they read Last Mohicans?
No, but they read a book about a white supremacist couple that had a baby, and the black nurse was there to take care of the baby initially, and then the couple said that they don't want a black person touching their baby, and so then the doctors made the black nurse not touch the baby anymore, and then during one of the checkups, the baby started going into some type of shock or cardiac arrest or something like that, and then she couldn't do anything because she said she wasn't allowed to touch the baby, and then all these nurses rushed in and like, what are you doing? She's and she's like, I was told I can't touch the baby. And I'm like, is this a true story? Like, what's going on here? Is this a true story? She's like, no, it's not. And that's what the people in the book club had a hard time with, is that this white woman wrote this story, this fictional story about a black nurse not being able to help this baby of a white supremacist couple. And I'm like, well, yeah, I understand what they're saying. That's like it's like a hard line. Like, what is this a completely fictional story? I mean, what are you basically tangentially making up a story about a Native American tribe that never existed?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on somebody making up a story? I mean, not necessarily in the guise of reality, but
right. And here's the deal:
painting it like that.
It wouldn't surprise me that a white person wrote that. That's not like, well, because quite frankly, like,
it seems when you're like, is this a real story? Be like, oh, that's a crazy weird story. When
a black person's not going to be like, I'm going to write a story where it's bad that a white baby dies because of their parents' racism. Mm-hmm. I don't like, as compared to.
But to me, that shows like
morality. It's a weird morality play that I'm guessing that the person who's like being looked down upon, not looked down, but like the lesser is not the victor in the end. It's so dumb.
It's when she was telling me the story, I was like, okay, is this a real story? Like, if this is a real story, that's a really horrible.
Happened in 1987.
Yeah, it was like that'd be a really horrible, but also like really random, and like it wouldn't be that common. Like, it's not a common thing that happens, right? So but then when it's a fictional story, you're like, that just seems like it's a shitty idea for a story. It seems like a really like, oh, I'm gonna. Unless it's under the guise that it's a nonfiction story, that it's going to be here's this story of this woman who was a nurse forever, and this is what happened to her. But it just seems like a poorly written story.
It sounds dumb. Yeah. It sounds dumb. Here's the deal,
But I would have a hard time with the message of it, because
what's the message? What's the message? That dumb people have their babies killed, their babies die because you're dumb,
because of their dumb decisions.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, I wrote a great book. It's about how I didn't buckle my kid into his car seat.
Yeah.
Act 1. It's just like,
it's like shitty things happen to shitty people. And then, like,
oh my God. And then they have to go through a whole litigation fight. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And nobody would give a shit. And be like, people would you'd say, who is this author? Why are you a bad person? Because clearly, you're an idiot.
Capitalizing on just emotions,
right?
It's not like capitalizing on reform or like trying to enact change, because this is something that we deal with all the time. Like, there have been so many babies that die of their white supremacist parents not letting a person of color touch their baby.
It's I'd like to learn more about, I don't know, the whole. I'm just thinking about this right now. Mm-hmm.
Please,
don't touch me. You're a black person. That's such a weird caste system thing. I mean, that was a caste. I mean, the Untouchables. How is that? Indians didn't just figure that out on their own, right? Why is that built into us? The
actual physical touching of somebody?
Yeah, I mean, so the castes. India, there was the caste system where
go on.
There was people didn't mix and match between different levels of a lot of it was socioeconomic, but also like racial and other things as well. But then there's the untouchables, which were just basically the poor dirt people, and you didn't touch them. You couldn't touch them. Don't touch them. They're dirty.
Probably, I mean, some semblance of safety and
self-preservation, because they're dirt people and they're covered in dirt. I remember that there was a guy in our church when I was a kid, and his hands were always just weird, calloused, caked, and they just looked weird. And I mean, nice enough guy, and it's just like, man, anytime I shake your hand, it is just always just like, what's going on here? But that's not a black person, No, it's like, if a black person who is clean cut in a nice suit comes up and wants to shake your hand, it's just like, whoa,
right,
ain't happening, buddy. Like, I can't imagine the filth that you're coming from. Come and look at me like you're Django Unchained right now. Don't do it. I like that concept is just so fucking foreign to me.
But and me as well. But that to me is what, when you're talking about racism, that's racism. Like when you're talking about like I don't want you to physically touch me.
Don't touch me. That's racism.
Versus,
as compared to, I don't think I'm going to give you a job. I mean, that's racism as well. Maybe a little bit more biased.
Well, it's very nuanced. It's a very nuanced thing, and you can't really just pin it on one particular act. But if I decide that, like, I know you don't watch The Sopranos, but like Tony Soprano is a very racist character in a very persecuted subculture of America, Italian Americans. Yeah. And he plays the victim card of like how they've been persecuted, but he's also very racist himself. He doesn't want his daughter dating a black guy, and he has a million Italian derogatory terms for black people and Jewish people and everything like that.
Yeah.
But it's like that to me when you're actively going out and you're saying, again, I'm not judging you by the content of your character. I'm judging you solely by the color of your skin.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me. Right. Which.
That's so very interesting.
I do find it interesting that all these, with all this racial tension that we have going on right now, and I see a lot of, there's a house around here that has 3 Martin Luther King, quotes stuck in the ground.
Oh, really?
Like that. And not one of them is judge me by the content of my character, not the color of my skin, which is what I would think that's the prevailing one.
Is that the one?
I always thought that was the one. I mean, I would think that like.
The guy said a lot of stuff.
He said a lot of great stuff, and I'm not saying that the things that I can't.
Don't put words in my mouth.
But the content of your character is the thing that really
resonated.
Matters.
Oh, sure.
But that's what matters, because again, like if I'm stopping you from shaking, if I'm not going to let you shake my hand, right? I'm obviously don't fucking touch me, right? That's not letting you. That's not even getting to know you as a person. If I get to know you and I don't like you and that's like any other interaction in the world.
Yeah.
I don't like you. And then that happens. But
because
that
you're
really has
a bad person.
That doesn't have anything to do with the color of your skin, or shouldn't, I guess. But
it's just, for me, it's just such an odd concept. I can't even imagine. Like, and that's the crazy thing about, we talk about time and place, right?
Mm-hmm. We're going back to that first.
You talk about time and place. The idea that there was a time and place, where I'm standing, where the idea of shaking a person of color's hand, hugging a person of color, being married to a person of color is just like absolute fucking taboo on all, like, in varying degrees. I think that's interesting. And it's just, I don't get it. I don't understand.
No, but it goes back to, let's read the quote again here, or the line again, because the list of ethnic slurs actually kind of put it. It's a good thing to remember when you're going through all these different things. Gotta go all the way to the top. There's a lot of ethnic slurs. The connotation of a term and prevalence of its use as a pejorative or neutral descriptor varies over time and geography. So sometimes they're just a neutral descriptor. And it's maybe in retrospect, like we were kind of talking about last week.
Yeah.
Like looking 200 years ago, probably using some of these as racist in the context of now.
Yeah.
Some of them are definitely pejorative and meant to degrade and hurt and everything like that.
Right.
But
it's interesting. And then adding things like dirty or pig or dog or filthy.
like if I say Russian pig right now, no one's going to get mad at me. No one.
I don't think so.
No one. If you look up the list of ethnic slurs and read what comes right before Russian pig, I bet you have a giant problem with what I'd say, right?
Right.
And that's
right.
for you to find out. That's for you to
That's your own homework.
choose your own adventure podcast that we like to do.
Just go, just do yourself a favor. Look at list of ethnic slurs on Wikipedia, and it's interesting.
And you'll be redirected if you go racial slur. So, just so you know.
It's redirected from racial slur, as compared to list of religious slurs.
I bet we could go through a lot of those, and then
that's crazy.
But again, even using slurs, even like we go back to Young Buck, like that's what this whole conversation started off, right? Yeah. You weren't using it in a racist, derogatory way.
No.
But again, a lot of people use words because that's their understanding of it. That's what's been used around. They don't know. They don't understand.
Right,
they don't.
Right.
And it's not up to everybody to. I don't know. Is every like old term that you've used your entire life or people around you have used, like, is it up to you to like understand? Is young buck something that you really need to look up the etymology of that word?
Well, no, I mean, because listen,
and look, we did it for you. So
young buck, a buck, a male
horse.
Well, no, a male horse is a stallion.
What's a young buck?
Like a deer.
Gotcha.
What's another buck? I'm gonna say no, not a sheep. Sheep's.
But again, even in the context of deer, I don't understand the.
So young bucks. Okay, so old bucks. The larger deer, older deer. Deer have a weird lifespan to them, so they.
Right. How this ties into racial equality in America?
I can't think of it.
That's where the jump I'm.
I don't know if it's just like because of I'm familiar, being familiar with hunting and outdoorsmanship and being able to.
Or is it the hyper
observe? I'm observing young deer being aggressive and being too. Just being a young shithead, of a male, like that's what a young
which
buck
only happens to one race of people,
and that's
it's ludicrous.
It's not, but
right.
why would is it because I don't think it's because black people in the South spend more time outdoors than white people, but I find it interesting. I don't know. I mean, because here's the other thing. Maybe it's just because
I think you're making it racist right now. I think you're
because I would say like talking about the phrase "buck wild."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've only really heard that phrase being used in in the African American community.
Really?
Yeah. Well, maybe that's granted. Me and my limited scope. That's not a phrase I'm using.
Well, we're going to go back to buck naked here. What's the
buck naked? I don't know. Is starbuck? Oh my gosh, naked as a buck? I don't know. Buttocks.
I have a feeling that an alternate form of this expression is naked as a buck, and that the proposed origin stemming from buck equally buttocks is wrong. My suspicion is that buck referred to is a derogatory term for Native American brave or warrior. Okay,
see,
so
now that's something.
Now that is a little easier line to connect.
Yes.
So maybe you were on the right path, but wrong culture.
But then again, once again.
But hold on, wait, no, it
go
goes
ahead.
forward. So brave or warrior, though some further research on the WWW shows. I don't know what the fuck that means.
That means the World Wide Web. That's short for the World Wide Web.
Shows, though? Gotcha. World Wide Web. How old is... Oh, okay, 2003. Okay, cool. Jesus Christ. That buck was also used to apply to male black slaves in the days of the U.S. slave trade.
Now
there you're on.
That's onto something.
In both cases, at the time, both ethnic minorities would have been viewed as lowly savages and not liable to be wearing the trappings of white, supposedly civilized society in their natural state.
That's interesting. Okay.
Again, I can't remember why I think this. That's another interesting point of this. This is why they think. But I must have read I must have read something to give me this
Any
impression.
further opinions?
Any further opinions? So this is the question. This is not. Let's not do. Let's really do
Somebody
our job
asked this
here.
question
Someone
in
asked,
3.
Yeah, someone asked this question, and they get buck naked is the only reference source they get. It's an adjective, also buck naked, buck born, star buck, origin uncertain, but perhaps alteration of butt/buttocks, entirely unclothed. That's from the Dictionary of American Regional English, Volume 1, by Frederick G. Cassidy, 1985. That's the only accredited information we have. Everything else is in a question from someone on this website.
Right.
Not that it's wrong, but I'm just let's clarify.
When I think of slave trade and like males that I'm buying, right? I'm thinking more of bull as in like more going into cattle, and that side of owning
that's where your
stuff
deer
and auctioning.
Your deer analogy was throwing me off because
right. And because I don't know about young steer. I mean, it's not a steer. I mean, but a bull. That's interesting. I don't know.
It's definitely there's some information there. The validity was buck used as a term to describe young males on the auction block. That we have not clarified yet. Is it entirely possible?
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
Right.
Now, the biggest thing that this makes is the initial derogatory term for Native American brave or warrior. That makes a lot of sense.
Because it's much more nature based.
Well, but then then how it would carry over, I could see how that would carry over. But
because it's really interesting, like in nature, like white-tailed deer, bucks, like the young bucks will sit there and try to nose their way into mating so hard. Like they're aggressive, and if it wasn't for their size, they would not be able to do it. Like,
here we go, Nathan.
Okay, you got it?
No, I just found terms that you might not know are considered racist. This might be a new game show for us.
Apple picker.
Yeah, right. So some are obvious ones, like boy.
Boy, I think boy is
that's like Jew. I mean, it's all in how you say it. It's like Jesus Christ. It's all in how you say it. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Listen here. Boy.
Right. That's
asking Brady. Boy, I love you.
Yeah. It's all in how you say it. All right. Gypped. That's one. Yep.
Are you making fun of my rich gypsy heritage?
Now,
no can do.
The no can do and long time no see, I was unaware of. These two phrases have probably rolled off the tongue of most Americans at some point in time. However, the sayings are not only mocking the English-speaking attempts of Chinese immigrants and Native Americans for whom English was a second language.
The long time... But is it still? That's the question.
That's the thing. Is it still racist? Is it still racist? He's saying, hey, can you come over here this weekend and help me out with my deck?
No can do, big fella. Young buck.
Fuck you, motherfucking racist. It's like, hey, wow, it's great to see you.
Yeah. No can do. Long time no see.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You fucking piece of shit.
Uppity?
What is uppity? Many people have no idea that the term uppity has racist connotations when applied to black people in particular.
Oh, no. I mean, that I get.
But that's, again, when you're applying it to a specific, that's any word.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing with that Daniel Tosh bit of.
Yeah, dirty. Yeah, if we could put dirty up there.
Yeah.
When referring to black people, calling them dirty, all black people.
Really, you can make anything.
A really dirty black person.
Yeah.
No.
That fucking wood chipper over
Yeah.
there. Like, it doesn't mean anything, but
It
like,
doesn't.
it's just
It doesn't.
in all in how you say it. And if I refer only to a group of people
Yeah.
as that,
You know him. He's a real dirty wood chipper.
yeah.
Jeez. Considering the shyster, yup.
Because again, I would say, if you're gonna just specifically put it towards black people, I mean, uppity. I mean, that's used for women as well. I mean, is that not sexist
Yes.
as well?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
no, she's a real uppity.
See you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
First Lady Michelle Obama. I think that that cuts both ways.
Yeah. Rush Limbaugh. Because I would say Rush Limbaugh is uppity.
Oh no, he's a real man of the people. I don't know. I didn't say that.
No, I would say Rush Limbaugh is uppity. Anyone that gets that upset on a daily basis.
Listen, just because he has a golden microphone.
Considering the shyster. Now, I know shyster is one.
Yeah.
But considering the shyster, many people have come to believe that shyster is anti-Semitic. We're not. But the origins of the word are linked to a Manhattan newspaper editor in 1843 to 1844.
According to law.com.
Thank you for the source. During this time, there was a crusade against legal and political corruption in the city. The editor derived the term shyster from the German word Scheiße. I didn't take German.
Oh, you didn't?
Meaning excrement. Which is poop.
Shitter.
Yeah.
Real shitter over here.
There are several reasons for the anti-Semitic confusion, including the closeness to Shakespeare's Shylock and the belief that the term came from the proper name of Schuster, who some think was a corrupt lawyer. Schuster, I mean,
I don't know.
is that a person? Or is
I
that a
have no
term for a
idea.
lawyer?
I don't know.
All right, the etymology of the word indicates it was never intended as a racial slur and that it was applied derogatorily to lawyers in general and not to any single ethnic group. So this isn't...
You're really muddling your message here, thoughts.com.
Yeah, .co.com. So you're saying it's not racist.
Right.
Because he was talking about the legal and political corruption in the city, and the editor derived
Coming
the term
from the
shyster from the German word shit. Okay, so this is... So you're saying shyster?
Scheisse.
Scheisse. So you're saying shyster is okay. And it's just a confusion over time?
Yeah.
It doesn't explain the confusion.
So I can use the word shyster with my lawyer if I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now that's interesting. Now, does that lead to...
Time and place says no.
Well, but that does the confusion lead to the common misconception that all lawyers are Jewish?
Maybe. I don't know.
And does that...
This is weird. We're in some
really deep water
This
here.
is really deep one. And
But
none
that's
of
where
this is airable, by the way. This is all problematic.
This is all problematic.
People are going to come after us for sure.
We're just trying to get to the root of this.
The
more you know.
The more you know.
Well, because again, I kind of want to dig into this whole shyster thing here.
I just wanted to learn more about shyster, which just means shitter.
Well, apparently this Manhattan newspaper editor in 1843 to 1844 really did some work with some words here.
Listen, guys, you don't understand. And put this down.
I'm tired of this.
I am tired of these fucking lawyers. They're all people who shit and they're from Germany, so their words are shit. Scheiße.
I don't even think he's going that far. I just say he's like, I know this word.
They're shit people, these German lawyers. Shitters.
Shyster.
Shysters. Fuck them.
Yeah.
That's me scribbling down, and then you're going to typeset this later, right, Francis?
Right.
You fucking better. Here we go. All right. We're going to roll this out. People won't see where this is fucking coming.
We got to do some research. If there was an influx of Jewish people becoming lawyers shortly thereafter, 1844, or if it was just misconstrued over time.
I'd like to see a 5-minute Vox video about how people became lawyers in 1843. That's all I want to see. Tell me about how to become a lawyer in 1843.
That's what I want to know.
What's that process like?
That's what I want to know.
And is it easier for Jewish people or people who are German and shit themselves? I don't know.
And at the end of the day,
yeah, this could be a podcast, I guess.
we did it.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Hey, thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. be sure to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. And be sure to also check us out on Twitter at TCBA_podcast. And then also, Nathan, where?
Yeah, we're also on YouTube. So check us out on there. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Because you never know. We might throw a bonus clip on there where I say all the racist terms that I'd love to say, but I probably shouldn't. No, I'm not going to do that. That's a bad idea. I already cut it. It's done.